You're driving alone. Late. The road is empty and the only sound is your own engine. Then you see it in your mirror, something running alongside the car. A dog keeping pace. Effortlessly. You glance over just as it turns its head toward you. And for 1 second, before you look away, you see a face that should not be there. They call it Jinmenken. The human-faced dog. And in Japan, everyone has heard some version of what it does. The highway. This is the most told version. Late at night, on an empty expressway. A dog appears running alongside a car, and it's fast. Not fast for a dog. Fast enough to match a car doing 100 kilometers an hour. Drivers say if you look at its face and looks back, you lose control. Some swear it caused real accidents, cars found wrecked on the shoulder. No other vehicle involved, the driver unable to explain what happened. The alley, a different kind of encounter. Late at night, behind a convenience store or a row of restaurants, someone spots what looks like a stray rooting through a trash bag. They tap it with their foot or call out to shoo it away. It turns around, and it has the tired, sagging face of a middle-aged man. "Leave me alone," it says, and walks off like it has somewhere to be. That line, "Leave me alone," shows up again and again across different tellings. Not a growl, not a scream, just irritation. As if being disturbed was the real problem, not being seen. The bite. There's a darker version to one told less often, but it sticks with people. If a Jinmenken bites you, you don't just get hurt. You become one. The jump. And then there are the details that don't fit any single story. But keep getting added anyway, Jinmenken said. To clear 6 meters in a single leap. They're said to outrun anything that chases him. Said to vanish the moment more than one person is watching at once. Every version is a little different. But they all share the same unbearable detail: a dog's body, moving like a dog, sounding like a dog. Until it turns its head. Where does something like this come? Nobody agrees. One explanation, whispered as often as the sightings themselves: a failed genetic experiment. A university lab, a research facility. The story changes, depending on who's telling it, where something crossed a human and a dog and it got loose. Another version says it isn't a creature at all. It's a person. Someone who died, suddenly hit by a car, killed in an accident. And whose spirit didn't move on. Instead, it fused with the nearest living thing. A stray dog wandering the same street where they died. A third version skips the tragedy and goes straight to malice occurs. A dog possessed by something that wanted a body, and this was the one available. None of these explanations agree with each other. And that's part of what makes Jinmenken unsettling in a way. A normal ghost story isn't. There's no single myth to point to. Just dozens of people in different decades, describing the same impossible face and reaching for a reason on their own. By 1989, the rumor wasn't confined to one town or one school. It was everywhere, traded between kids, picked up by magazines, repeated on television, until a huge number of people across the country had at minimum heard. Someone described a dog with a human face and a bad attitude. This is older than you think. Here's the part that makes it worse. This wasn't a new idea in 1989. Go back to the Edo period. centuries earlier, and you'll find written records describing the same thing. In 1810, in Edo, an account describes a litter of puppies, born to a stray dog, and among them one with an unmistakably human face. Word spread through the neighborhood. People paid to come and see it for themselves. Almost a decade later, in 1819, another record describes the same kind of birth. In a different part of the city, a puppy with a face the people swore looked human, drawing crowds all over again. These weren't campfire stories. They were written down at the time by people who considered it worth recording. Which means whatever, this is a shared nightmare. A trick of the eye. Something else people in Japan have been seeing it or telling each other. They've seen it for over 200 years. Maybe it's a hoax that got out of hand. Maybe it's an old dog with an unusually human face. Glimpsed for half a second in bad light. Maybe it's neither. What's true is this across 2 centuries in different cities. Strangers with no connection to each other have described the exact same thing. An ordinary dog until the moment it turns around. So if you're ever driving alone, late at night, on an empty road, and something starts running alongside your car, don't look over. If stories like this are your thing, subscribe, there's more coming.